Russia's government has drafted stricter penalties for convicted criminals who desert the military after being recruited from prisons to fight in Ukraine. The proposed legislation would increase sentences by up to 5 years for desertion, unauthorized absence, and feigning illness among soldiers recruited from prisons or detention centers. In this case, the lack of volunteers, even in the harshest Russian prisons, has forced officials to find a new solution to force convicts to the front. Being forced to the wall without real choice, many have decided to try their luck, looking for an unexpected solution, killing their captors and running free, RFU News media outlet says. The latest incident occurred in Russia's Leningrad region, where 9 convict volunteers murdered their escort and escaped while being transported to the front. According to Russian reports, the group killed the convoy driver and fled into nearby forests and villages, triggering a large manhunt. These men had been taken straight from prison under military contracts, part of Russia's shrinking pool of penal recruits intended to replace catastrophic frontline losses. It is important to note that this is not the first such bloody escape involving prisoners breaking out before deployment, aware that their transfer to the front means a likely death sentence. RFU News reports. When Wagner introduced prison recruitment in 2022, tens of thousands volunteered for a chance at pardon and cash compensation, nearly $21,000 for 6 months at the front. By late 2024, however, casualty rates had become so extreme that enthusiasm collapsed, and Russia had run out of willing convicts. Between 140,000 and 180,000 inmates were released to fight in Ukraine, but most of them died in meat assaults from Bakhmut to Avdiivka, and the rest saw enough to understand that survival was unlikely. By 2025, monthly recruitment dropped to the low hundreds. Signing bonuses disappeared, salaries were slashed, and stories of executions for refusal spread widely. RFU News recalls. Most remaining prisoners chose to serve their sentences rather than face certain death, and when recruitment dried up, Russia began shuttering prisons and turning to more coercive tactics inside its penal system. Russian authorities shifted to a new approach of fabricating crimes until prisoners break and sign military contracts, removing the incentive to wait out their sentence because they would be waiting until their death in a cell. This was recently confirmed by a captured 19-year-old soldier taken in the Vovchansk sector. During interrogation, he explained that he had 11 months left on his sentence when investigators inside the prison suddenly charged him with additional offenses that he insists he did not commit. Faced with years of extra prison time and no legal defense, he signed a military contract to avoid further punishment. His story aligns with reports from Ukraine's intelligence services, which note that Russia increasingly uses fabricated charges, such as discrediting the army, spreading fake news, or justifying terrorism to pressure detainees. RFU News says these charges often come from staged conversations recorded by planted informants seeking perks. In the first half of 2025 alone, over 100 such sentences were documented. Additional unethical measures, such as various forms of harassment and harsh deprivation, including limiting water to 3 liters per week, are frequently used to coerce signatures. Since a March 2024 law allows Russian prosecutors to suspend criminal cases if a prisoner enlists in the army, with inmates effectively told refusal means isolation, violence, and decades added to a sentence, while in contrast, signing up as a volunteer at least offers a theoretical chance of survival. RFU News claims Russia's practice of replenishing its ranks with prisoners is collapsing, and officials are improvising increasingly coercive measures to sustain the flow.
Local patrols of Palestinian men have grown in the occupied West Bank in the wake of rising Israeli settler attacks in recent weeks. Groups, like the Sinjal Guard Committee, were formed in several Palestinian communities to protect towns as settler violence increased significantly since the war in Gaza started. Amid a shaky ceasefire in the devastated enclave, settler violence has continued on the uptick in the West Bank. As a response, patrols have gained new members like 38-year-old Abdullah Abu al-Ez. He is part of a group of 200 who take shifts to protect their town from settler attacks, though they carry only sticks to combat the settlers. We confront the settlers with our bare chests. We have only a flashlight and a wooden stick that we can use to defend ourselves, Abu al-Ez said. Other smaller patrols have emerged, especially in the wake of attacks during West Bank's recent olive harvest. But none are as organized as Sinjal's, which was supported by the municipal government, after being formed independently by the town's people. A night patrol this week wandered the dusty brush of the West Bank, casting rays of light on the lands around them. In the winter cold, the men sat in a tent overlooking roads used by some settlers to approach the village. They lit a fire to warm themselves. This week, the group said they were ambushed and assaulted by 15 settlers. Abu al-Ez showed a reporter from the Associated Press the damaged vehicle he drove during his guard shift. Israeli leaders have played down the settler attacks as the work of a small minority. But Palestinians say the attacks are frequent, often in close proximity to Israeli troops, and the settlers are rarely punished. Netanyahu has called the perpetrators a handful of extremists and urged law enforcement to pursue them for the attempt to take the law into their own hands.
هاي فتنا غايتين لعند عزبة اليطا والأمور طيبة. حرسات سنجل طلعت على الجبل. من كثر الاعتداءات من المستوطنين اللي استمرت في البلد وسقط عنا أكثر من شهيد في سنجل، فقررنا أن نحمي أهل سنجل وأهل البلد من الاعتداءات المستوطنين، نحرس البلد من المستوطنين، لأن الاعتداءات الفترة الأخيرة صارت عنا بكثافة من المستوطنين.